Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to Queen Flow. Today's episode is so important. My client Angelica is joining me to chat about something that I feel like does not get spoken about in entrepreneurship often in the online space. So, what happens when you've already made seven figures, you've already celebrated 80 to 100K months, and then for a variety of reasons, things drastically change? So, inside Angelica's business, which she's extremely transparent about, she had gone from, her consistent 80 to 100K months to her income taking a major, major dip. And when that happened, of course, how that affected her psychologically, emotionally, energetically, the relationship that she had to herself, to money, all these different things, and what she navigated and, the shifts that she needed to make because our market has changed, how people buy has changed, and all of these different things, as well as in seeking out, to obviously rise again inside her company, the different mentorship experiences that she had, both in seeking that rise and also earlier in her journey that very much like derailed her. She definitely is not someone who's ever made herself a victim to who she hired, but definitely derailed her from getting where she wanted to go. And so we have some important lessons to share around that. And then also her experience in working with me. So we worked together. So she actually started out in my Effortless Flow Intensive, which I'm going to drop the link for you in episode notes. It's so powerful. It is. So we have a 90-minute, and part of the reason, that we're able to get so much done is by the way that it's structured. So we have a 90-minute call together. In advance of that call, my team sends you a questionnaire so you can really map everything out for me in terms of your business. So you're not having to spend time on the call explaining things, and we can just get to work. So we have that 90-minute call. And then that is followed by a Telegram day the following day. So, because obviously there's going to be a lot that we do on the call, you're going to need a second to integrate. There's going to be other questions that you have. You're maybe going to want me to look at some other things, whatever it is. So, the day after our call, we have a Telegram day together. And it's just an incredible way. If you're wanting private mentorship from me, that is an incredible place to start. If you are in the Revolution or Secret Money, you also have an exclusive opportunity to join the Effortless Flow Intensive. If you're not in either of those spaces, you can simply join in the link that is inside episode notes. So Angelica did 4 months with me. And so she basically started with the Effortless Flow Intensive and then extended to do an additional 3 months. And we made some really key refinements in her business. So when she came to me, she had hired, she'd done the thing many people do where it's like, oh my God, so-and-so is making $1 billion. They must have all the answers, even though I'm not really feeling energetic resonance, right? I'm feeling in scarcity and it's seeming like she knows everything, right? And that person could very well know everything for you when you're in energetic alignment. We're going to talk about actually making sure you have that energetic alignment when you go and make investing decisions, meaning you feel that activation, you feel that soul resonance. You're not just like chasing money or chasing a result that person has, but you feel a connection to them and things that they say, right, are really waking you up. So anyhow, we just did a lot of refinements to the positioning of her offers, to where she was focused in her business, to how she was delivering the content, how she was living her message. We refined her sales pages and really got her back into her power and focused on what was going to be truly her unique zone of genius and how she wanted to frame that so she wouldn't just sound like every other fitness coach on the internet, which is what had happened when she had gone to the quote unquote expert, was that she got lost. And so when I was looking at her content, I was looking at her sales pages, I was like, okay, well, who is this? Because everything that you've told me actually about you and how your work works and how your clients are getting results and what makes you unique is missing. That is missing. And that is the reason that people are going to want to pay you. And additionally, some refinements to how she was selling. And so when she came to me, she had also been advised to like focus on low ticket, right? So people can get a taste of working with her. And there's totally a time and place for that. But she really loves high ticket sales. She really loves high ticket sales. I love all the types of sales. Excuse me. So I was like, we are really focused on low ticket. You don't even like low ticket. You don't need to be behind the scenes right now in email funnels and this low ticket product. We need to get your income up. Let's focus on how to sell out your high ticket space. But we did make adjustments to one of her top of funnel offers. So top of funnel is going to be where you bring the most people in, right? And then as people get closer and closer in proximity to you, you're going down the funnel. So it is great and important to have some type of top of funnel offer in your business. And in her case, she had this masterclass, and even at it being free, no one was joining, right? The alignment just was not there. We made shifts to that sales page. She had 50 people join that masterclass in 1 week. She was having literally no new sales, no new sales. So she had reoccurring income because she's so good at what she does. People who hire her like to stay, but her sales had literally just like dropped to the floor. So within the first week of our first Effortless Slow Intensive, she got 50 people into her top of funnel offer, which was free. People upgraded from there. And in addition to her selling online and with the revised content, the revised sales pages, the revised selling system, essentially, and positioning of her offer and herself and her genius, because she's so good at what she does, it just wasn't shining. She had a 13K cash week immediately on the back end. And now her sales are flowing again. She has been invited into some incredible podcast opportunities. She started getting booked out for her. And so she does like these workshops where she basically like goes to the team. So she started getting booked more for her in-person events and just incredible speaking opportunities. So much is coming her way. Now she's back in her power. Her money is flowing again. And I just love her willingness, because she actually came to me and was like, hey, like, can I come on the show? Like, I really want to talk about this. I feel like this happens in entrepreneurship. Everybody talks about the rise too, right? Where we get, but nobody talks about, well, what happens if you've already made 7 figures and then like something kind of like goes wrong? The market changes for whatever reason, your power drops, like you lose connection to your message. Maybe you lose connection to the offers that made you so much money. In this case, that wasn't her. Her offer is perfect for her, right? But we needed to evolve to better reflect who she is and to bring her more deeply into her brand, while also acknowledging how people buy today. So her products didn't need to change, but we needed to sell and market in different ways that match the current environment, and that also are going to connect with the type of human who's perfect for her world and take her out of any type of arena of sounding like every other fitness coach on the internet, which is exactly what we did. So I'm so excited for you to hear Angelica's story. Also really cool. We share a best friend, Stefan, and he kept being like for years, like, you guys should meet, you guys should meet, you guys should meet. And entrepreneur life, we're busy. And then finally her and I had a chat just to like meet each other. And she's actually in Maui. I'm in New York, of course. And after that, she was like, hey, I want to hire you. And I'm like, sounds like a good idea. So you are going to hear Angelica's story. And this is fun too, because the last episode that came out with Alexa was, a great example and case study to listen to if you're new to business and you haven't been making money. And then for my more seasoned gals, this is going to be great for if you've made money and now the money is not coming like it used to, or it's just feeling hard to make more. So if you want to work together and you want to create the types of results that I've been creating for my clients since 2020 in a variety of environments, doesn't matter, right? There's always a way forward. There's always a way that aligns with you. Make sure to come join us inside the Revolution. The Revolution is my 6 or 12-month membership mastermind. When I say membership, I mean because you get access to my full product suite, but it is a high touch mastermind space for you if you are desiring to scale Relax Millions and you are aiming for anywhere between 10K, 100K months, and you are able to be new to business. And then of course, already on your way. So we have category of 1, which is going to be a 6-week mastermind that I'm running exclusively inside the Revolution, kicking off this Tuesday, January. Girl, look at my outfit. It is not January. And thank God, because I do not like January. Okay. June 24th. So right now, when you join the Revolution, you can use code SUMMER333 to receive $333 off. If you are inside the Secret Money membership, Enchanted Sales, Magnify, Manifest, Receive, or you have any purchase that you've made in the past 30 days, then you can take the credit of that purchase and add it to the special Summer 333 code. What you'll need to do is either send me a DM on Instagram or email assistant@jocelynkellyreid.com, and we will get you set up with your exclusive code. If you're not in any of those offers, no problem. You can still use Summer 333 at checkout. That is only going to be good through midnight Eastern Tuesday, January. Why do I keep saying that? It's because January is like reminds me of beginnings, right? Tuesday, June 24th. And inside category of one, we are going to be doing exactly what I've done with Alexa, exactly what I've done with Angelica, exactly what I've done with all the women you've seen come into my world in a variety of niches, situations, ages, personal experiences, all of these different things, and rise in their income at times where it either felt like, ooh, I knew this is scary, or okay, I've been plateaued here, hanging out here for a long time, I want more. Or just like maybe it's like I've really just been relying a lot on my energetics and my potency, but like I'm starting to get tired. Like I'm only making a lot of money when I'm just like on, or I always got to launch or whatever it is, you just want to do business the feminine way, but backed by the strategies and the content that are really going to support you, right? Support you not just in making more money, but making sustainable money. Because something you will quickly learn if you haven't learned yet is it's great to make a lot of money one time, but you get really tired if continuing that money and growing that money means more of your time, constant output on your end, perhaps sales calls, whatever it is that you don't want to do, or you can do them. But you don't want it to always have to be like more to make more. And that is the situation a lot of entrepreneurs find themselves in. And if something happens, like, an extended dip, things like that are quite, dramatic, like what happened with Angelica, I am absolutely here to help you wind your way back. Like it was so fast with her, literally 13K cash and 50 people enrolled in her top of funnel offer within 1 week of our call. 1 week, 1 week. We move fast, and you will hear her talk about how much easier things are now. Not harder, easier. So category one, we are supporting you in creating buyer certainty with your audience. Because guess what? When people are certain, they buy. And it's actually that simple. So you're going to be creating buyer certainty with your audience, and we're going to be doing that together. I will be teaching, and then we'll also be hot seat coaching. We want to, for you, because this is what's missing from a lot of brands, or it's not there as largely as it could be. We want to teach people to pay you. You are not just there to like make friends and be vibey and inspirational on the internet, right? We want to teach people to pay you. We want your offer selling out continuously. We want your content magnetizing, not just getting likes, but actually bringing people to you, being like, yep, I have got to join this. We want your offers and your offer strategy to be perfect for your luxury client. Don't get scared that this means, oh my God, I've got to like ditch my whole product suite. Something is wrong, right? A lot of times it's just how you're positioning the product, and nothing about the product changes, but it's repositioning. So the person that it's perfect for is like, holy, this is perfect for me. And so lots of times we think like, oh my God, we need a bigger audience, or like, oh my God, well, maybe I haven't been at it long enough in order for me the money I want to make. None of this is true. None of this is true. You don't need a bigger audience. We need to magnetize the people who are already there. That is all. I have never focused on audience growth, not once, not ever. Not at all. We need to magnetize and speak to the people who are already there, because when we don't do that right now, they just glaze over, right? And it's not because they don't care what you have to say. They just think like, oh, she's like not talking to me. And you're like, you're perfect for my offer. What the is going on? So we want to bridge that gap, right? And we want to bridge the gap between your energetics and the strategies that are really in the content that are really going to work for you, so that you make the money you want to make and feel really good while you're making it, because you're not going to be building a business off a checklist. Like, good luck with that. And we're not just going to be trying to be like vibrate on $1 million. So I am absolutely the bridge between the energetics and the feminine strategy, so we can create increasingly sustainable, scalable income. So I will be supporting you with that, becoming the only one your luxury clients see, creating buyer certainty with your audience so that people want to pay you. And they want to pay you every day, and money will get a lot easier. You're not going to be lost in the sauce. You will get hands-on mentorship on every single call. That is exclusively taking place inside the Revolution. Head straight to episode notes and be sure to join us now. And I'm going to let you enjoy this call with Angelica. Love ya. Hi, Angelica.
Hello, love. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Cannot complain. Another beautiful day in Maui, so I'm good.
I know, right? I'm like, you
Top
don't
life.
get to complain.
No, never. No. Like when you live in paradise, you really like, it's hard. It's a
I
hard
was
life.
like cracking up because when I was in Kauai, people would be like, "Oh, how's your day?" I was like, "Does anyone tell you anything but amazing? Like, if you travel all the way here to go on vacation, you stay at this gorgeous hotel, and this is what you're doing, and you complain, then like you don't deserve to be here."
Exactly. Yeah. No complaining. My husband and I always say, like, it's hard to complain when you live in a place like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the stress level is like very low there. Like the
Yes.
environmental stress
Mhm. Yeah,
level.
I mean, there's no beeping horns, compared to where you live. I mean, I'm from New York, so I get it. But and anytime I visit New York, I'm immediately stressed the second I get out of the plane. My cortisol's like, what's through the roof? What's going on?
Well, I don't live in the city for a reason. I have my own little corner and I like live on the water, so I'm not like so surrounded,
Yeah,
but that's like the only way I can do it.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, your view is amazing.
It really is. I'm grateful. Okay, so I'm excited to bring you here today and to share you with the world and about our work together and, of course, what you do. And I think that you came to me in a situation that kind of like does not get talked about a lot on the internet, but is very common. And a lot of women just like kind of carry it inside and it really can slow us down in business, create all of this shame, all of these things. And it's really, we'll get into it in a second, but I just wanted to lay the land for sort of like when we've sort of been like led astray and how we invest in ourselves, or maybe thinking that like certain experts, like, oh my God, everybody's hiring her, she's making $1 billion, like she must have the answers. And then when it doesn't work for us, the way that it's working for other people, it's very like discombobulating and also can make it scary to invest in yourself again and to trust other people again. But if we don't, we also don't grow. And it's kind of like you feel between a rock and a hard place, and it's not a great place to be. And then with that usually comes like impact to our income, and it's kind of a mess. But no one talks about it because we're also busy trying not to like talk about people on the internet, which obviously we don't need to be talking about people directly on the internet. But we need to talk about the experience because for someone like you, you've been in business for a long time, like this is likely to have happened and we don't want to like be slowed down. So
Right.
I am very grateful that you were like, brought to my attention, like, hey, like, let's have this conversation because I do think it's an important one.
Yeah, and I think so many women, like you said, are afraid to talk about it or feel shame about it. And I'm happy to share. I always tell my audience, like, I'm an open book about all the things, anything you want to ask me, the plastic surgery, the abusive relationship, the money I've spent. I'm not going to hide it. Like, let's just be real here. I know, like, once a New Yorker, always a New Yorker. I'm real. I'm straight up. So I'm not going to hide. There's nothing to
My
hide.
favorite thing about New York, the people.
Nothing to hide. Let's go.
Okay, so before we dive into all of that, could you please introduce yourself, what you do, and
Sure.
also how you got into what you do today?
Sure. So my name is Angelica Ventrice. Like I said, originally from New York, but now I live in Maui, Hawaii. So how I got into, well, so I'm a holistic health and mindset coach. How I got into this was really going through my own journey. So I come from a background in pharmaceutical sales. I was overweight my entire life, miserable, depressed, horrible acne, just honestly really hated myself. And I got to a point in pharmaceutical sales where I was just really uncomfortable and it was impacting my career as well, how I felt. So I hired a coach, I lost 40 pounds, and something kind of just hit me, gut punched me when I was going through that journey with him. I'm like, oh, I need to do this. Like, I want to help other people feel aligned and confident, energetic in their bodies. And it wasn't just about the number on the scale. Like, it was way beyond that. It was the mental health, the emotional health. I come from a background of depression. My grandma was depressed and committed suicide. So mental health is a really, really big, important thing to me. My program is not just weight loss. It is not just fitness. Those are, like, I would say, the least important pieces of what I do. It's more really helping women with their mindsets. And then, of course, leading them to a body they feel aligned in, but really doing the mindset work. So that's how I got into this profession. That was 15 years ago. So,
Oh,
uh,
wow. And then how long have you had your company?
so I started 8 years ago online. Well, seven. What year?
Gotcha.
What year are we? 2025. So yeah, I started in
Mhm.
2018. I can't do math. 2018. So 7 years. This August will be 7 years. I'm not good at math. Okay, guys. I'm not good at math. So I started in 2018. I left the in-person coaching. I was doing in-person nutrition and fitness coaching at Equinox Gym. I'm sure many people are familiar who are listening. And I loved Equinox. It was great, but there's no room for growth. And I realized I had more to give than just like fitness with people. Like it's great to show people how to work out, but I'm way deeper than that. So that's how I got involved in coaching. So I've had my online program for 7 years.
Okay. Time tested, results proven.
Yep.
We love that. Okay. So so something that's really cool about Angelica and I, one, we have the same birthday, which is so
Crazy.
funny because I don't know anyone else whose birthday is April 1st.
Me
And
neither.
then two, we share a best friend, which is also just like such a funny story, Stefan.
Yes.
Because I went to college with him and you guys grew up together,
Yes. Stefan's
right?
been my best friend since I'm 5 years old. He's my longest friend ever. So I'm
Which is
42.
so,
For
go ahead.
reference. It's a long time, right? I'm 42. We met when like I moved to the town where Baldwin, where I met in Baldwin, New York. Yeah, we were just and so we met. You and I met through him. Really, he's like, you guys need to meet. You guys need to meet. So for years, Stefan had been saying that we need to meet. Finally, we meet or talk and
Yeah. And so I think that's like just so cute and random too. But anyhow, okay, so what was going on? Obviously, so finally we took Steph's advice and like had a chat and that was great.
right.
But then I'd love to know what was going on in your business before you came my direction. And so Angelica and I worked together for, was it 3 months or four? Three? I think it was
Three.
three.
No, we did one call and then 3 months was four calls.
Okay. So 4 months, she did like basically a continuation of my effortless flow intensive, which is really great if you're just wanting to like pop in and go really deep, like once a month, basically. And then do your thing and then come back. So what was going on that had led you in my direction, before we started working together?
I really felt like I lost myself. So I've done very well in business over the years, and in the last year, quite honestly, it's taken a huge dip. Something that I wasn't really excited about or comfortable with, and what I felt like I was doing, and you and I had this conversation, I was like grasping at straws, like you said, seeing this mentor, she does this and that's working. Let me try that and then this, and I was like outsourcing my power to just everything outside of me, literally. Anything I was seeing, I was like, well, I should try that, I should try that, and it got in your words, discombobulated. Like my messaging was off. Yes, I went through a rebrand the end of last year, and that was great, but even the rebrand, it just nothing felt like it was in alignment. Meanwhile, the name of my program is the Aligned Method, but I felt completely out of alignment, and it's really like I wasn't tapping into my unique essence that I had been using from the very beginning to build this successful business. I mean, before I started running ads, I started running ads the end of 2022. I built my business solely organically. Got it to almost 7 figures just organically. Started running ads, got it to 7 figures, did really well, dropped last year, and then after it dropped, I really, like I said, I just really felt like I lost myself. I could not find my voice.
And so, what was going on just kind of like in your investing journey? Because obviously, you built a 7 figure and beyond company. You are no stranger to investing in yourself, moving a lot of money powerfully for yourself. So,
Yeah.
we know that journey. But I'd love to hear more about that because I think that like that's can be really helpful, especially for those of my listeners who are further along, who have been investing a lot, or for those of you who are not, your look ahead. Because this is where it's like it can be the best thing that ever happened to you, but then it can also go sideways. And then it's like, hey, then what do we do from there so that we don't just be like, now I trust no one, right? And then like stall our growth.
Right. I always say, and I've told this to my clients as well, don't base your past decisions or quote unquote failures, if you want to call that, whatever you want to call them, to the future, right? Because it's just like I dated a guy who was abusive. I'm not going to say that, like, if I just based every relationship of that one, I wouldn't be married today. So I am really careful with saying, okay, like I had a bad investment, let's move on. I'm not going to carry it over. And I know that's hard for some people to do, but I think that's an important reminder. Just because you had one bad investment, it doesn't mean that the next one is going to go that way. There's a lesson in everything that happens. Hard lessons, yeah. A lot of money lost, yeah. And I've made a lot of big mistakes in the people I've invested with. Branding women who gave me like the crappiest logo, charged me $20,000. I'm like, what is this? I could have made this on Canva, but you trust somebody because they're a referral or you see them do good or whatever it may be, and then it doesn't work out for you. So there's definitely a lot of hard lessons, but I never want to base it off of what happened in the past. So that's why I was happy to invest in you, because I knew when I trusted, and I wasn't going to base what happened with the last person I invested in. So the last person I invested in before you, she's great in her own right, but it wasn't the right thing for me. And to steer me, I'm a high ticket coach. I've always been a high ticket coach. I love high ticket. I love coaching women very closely. We have a completely customized program. That's my thing. I'm good at it. I built my business that way. I'm not even someone who really purchases low ticket courses. I never even bought a low ticket thing from you. I went straight to the top. So that's how I like to buy. So that's how I like to run my program. But she was kind of pushing me to have this whole stackable thing and changing the way I was speaking, and I trusted because I was at a point where I felt really lost. And then by the time I got to you, you were like, "What is this? Who wrote who wrote this?" And I'm like, "Well, not me." You're like, "I can tell." It's just, but will you trust someone who's so successful, who's a multi freaking millionaire? And there's no shade to any of these women, but this is just the matter of the fact. When you outsource your power that much and you lose trusting your own internal essence, this is what happens. I lost my voice. And then I lost also remembering who I was and what I did. I'm a high ticket, highly customized coach. That is the way I like to run my program. That's the way I like to run my business. Why I was trying to fit the mold of what I saw from her and other people, I have no idea. I think it was just because I was so desperate at that moment, to be honest. I wanted to fix. I wanted to fix.
Well, and I think this is the problem that I talk about all the time with one size fits all mentorship. Like, I don't care if that person's made 8 figures, 9 figures, if they run the world. One size fits all mentorship is not going to work for every single person, right? Nothing works for every single person. But something I've always been committed to is like, you don't need to run your business like me. It doesn't matter how successful somebody's model is for them if it's not what actually works for you. And so with you, I remember being like, why are we even focused on all this low ticket stuff? Like, we need to get your high ticket selling. Like, that's what you like doing. That's your bread and butter. Like, why are we doing all, like, why are we over here in low ticket la la land? This is not your, it's not your thing. You know what I mean?
Okay, it's not my thing. And you reminded me of that. And you're like, why are you trying to make it your thing? And then I had like an aha moment. I'm like, I was trying to make it my thing because I saw this other coach do it, and I thought, okay, maybe this is the way now. Maybe the market's changed like this, and this is what I need to do. But in reality, no, I just needed to refocus myself on the things that made me powerful from the very beginning.
And then the other thing too that I remember just like really seeing quickly was like, it felt like you were all of a sudden being positioned as this like very generic fitness coach.
Yes.
And then when I was talking to you about how your work actually works in your journey and who you are and the transformations that actually occur in your world and why, it was anything but what was on paper, and you'd kind of just been reduced down to. And this is the other thing that can sort of be problematic when we're not making sure that we're really getting in spaces where we're going to be like really listened to, and like give me the meat. Like, what is the sauce underneath this? Not just like a quick outcome. Like,
Right.
what's really going on that takes your clients there. And so sometimes I feel like coaches will get in this rhythm where they just kind of like churn and burn through people. They're just like, this is how we do things. This is how you explain this, like blah, 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 blah. And I attract very like, awake, energetically sensitive, like spiritual women. And even though we also have big and like aspirations, we don't tend to do well in when like the depth of us isn't coming through our marketing and isn't coming through our offer positioning. Because you've been in this industry for a long time. I'm sure there are people where it's just like the secret sauce is I taught you how to count your macros, eat enough protein, and lift heavy.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not you.
No. Yeah. That's not. You're right. So it was definitely reduced down to that. I love the fact that you said the whole cookie cutter thing, because that's also the same thing with us. Our program is not cookie cutter either. So when anytime a woman comes in, no program is the same. And that's like, you were looking at me and you were seeing me. You weren't giving me some copy and paste. You were like, let's go through your sales page. Let's go through some content. Let's go through this. And everything was really uniquely designed to really fit me and how I'm looking to speak to my ideal client.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I don't do well being mentored in a cookie cutter way. You know, like it's always like we're attracted to these versions of us. And it's like I always want to be able to explain something that's important to me, is explain why, right? Like we want to do certain things or focus on certain things, and then like how we tailor that to you. So it's not like we're void of strategy, because would be a very challenging business to run. But it's just that everything, I really do believe that everything has to be tailored to us. I have mentored so many people, and I've just never seen any two people be exactly the same, express exactly the same, what works. Like I'll have two clients, let's say having equal months in their business. And the way that because obviously, especially because I can see, for example, like in a mastermind environment, the way that like I'm mentoring one and what I'm having her do and the way she positions and her sales pages and what we focus on for her, even like what's going to make her shine, the type of content, et cetera, will be quite different to the woman sitting right next to her just because of like their energetic differences, their strengths, also what you teach. Like that is going to make a big difference as well. Like for example, like some business styles don't require as much connection and depth as
Right.
others. But when you're dealing with people's like emotions and their personal journeys versus, I don't know, there's coaches who are teaching people like how to build an email list. It's like not that
Oh, yeah.
deep. You know what
Right.
I
And
mean?
talk about body composition and weight and the emotional and the physical weight. It's very personal. It's very deep. So it can't just, for me, it's, you can't just say like, oh, eat these foods and this is the protein intake. Like we need to go deeper as humans. So yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
And so when you came my way, I remember you were just like, obviously, as you mentioned, you're like, my sales have like really slowed down. You know, the things that were working before are not working. And there is truth to the fact that like our buying market has changed.
Yeah.
Not that people aren't spending money, but the way that people invest and the way that they want to learn and receive information versus what it was like in 2020, 2021 has changed. This
Mhm.
isn't a problem. And this doesn't mean that like everyone needs to now go run and have like 600 low ticket products, but it means that like, let's look at what you have and then let's like rearrange it and reposition it for our current market, but still based on you, because otherwise it like can't last. And so I can't remember where you had said your sales were like right before, but basically you felt like it was at a standstill in terms
It was.
of,
We had recurring, but we were not getting new clients. We had recurring revenue. So we weren't, yeah.
and okay, so you had your recurring. That's great. We love people who enter your world love to stay there. That's for a reason. But new sales weren't coming in, which is obviously problematic, obviously not great. And when you've already had like 7 figure years and stuff like that, you're like, oh, what the fuck? You
Yeah.
know, like this.
What the exactly. And I remember you saying to me, I think you asked me like, what do you like doing? Or what do you feel like you're really good at? And I was like, getting on video. So that's when you pushed me to really just start doing like one live a week again. And that re-energized me. I got so burnt out trying to do all the things that I was watching these other women do that once again I lost touch with like what does Angelica like doing? Like how do I like to create connection and provide value for my audience? Oh, I like doing Instagram lives. Do a live and you're like download the live and put it to YouTube. So I started doing that and just that shift alone, it wasn't like I did that and I got 10 clients the next day, but just that shift alone created like a different energy for me and more momentum, which then bled into eventually us getting more clients.
And then it's funny too, because for someone else, they don't shine that way,
Right.
you
No, they
know?
don't.
And so it's,
They go live. Hell no, I don't want to do that, right? Or they rather do a short reel or something.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I just remember being like, okay, so obvious, and there was the changes to your positioning. We definitely reworked your sales page. Also, one of the low ticket offers that you did have, changing how you were selling that to your audience, because even that wasn't moving, right? And then I remember how many people you said downloaded it. I think 30 or 40, like after those changes for your free offer, your low ticket offer.
It was a free Reset Metabolism Masterclass, and the way you just told me to start talking about it, and we made a few shifts on the sales page. I got like 50 signups that next week. It was free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even moving free before.
Right, exactly.
So 0 to 50 just from shifts that are actually in alignment with you. And then I think you said right after our first call, was it 13K cash came in
Yeah.
that next week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so that, and then now your sales, like obviously we're building back up to 100K months again, et cetera, et cetera. But your sales like actually started coming in again and you were booking your in-person workshops and like things just started like flowing again.
Yeah. I was in a major block, a major standstill. Everything just felt like it was at a standstill.
And so then how did you feel like in our work together that's perhaps different than what you'd experienced previously? Because obviously you've been mentored a lot by this point, having been in business for almost 8 years.
I've been mentored a lot. I've been in a lot of high level mentorships, worked with men and females. I said this to my husband about you. You have an ability to see things that other mentors do not see. It's a special gift. You have an ability to see things that whether it's a new idea or a new way to word something or a new way to pull something out of me. You just have this really great ability to do that. It's like
Thank
I
you.
don't even know what we can call that. It's a beautiful gift. You're able to just pull like I don't know what it's called, but that's what it was. It's just like I'm like, wow, how come? And in my head, I'm like, wow, how come I'm not gonna say his name. How come my current mentor never told me that? That's literally what went through my head. I'm like, how come my current mentor never suggested that? What the f? That's like what I thought. I'm like, what the
I paid you all this money. You did me dirty.
no, he helps with other things, more like a life coach. But still, like, when you've been coaching, also when you coach with someone for a long time, you can get, you can get used to or comfortable with someone, and I think you being a newer mentor for me, you just were like calling me out. Like, don't make money a problem. If you make money a problem, it's gonna be a problem. And I was like, fair. Right? Like, just call me out of my shit. It's fine. So I think just the calling out, obviously, but you do just have it's your business background and it's a spirituality, and I'm very spiritual as well, so we have that connection there. So it's just your ability to combine the energetic piece with the strategy piece in a way that's not too woo, but also not too strategic. There's like that fine middle, which is kind of also like my coaching program. Like, we're spiritual, but we also give the women strategies. We do breath work and meditation and visualization, and we're a little bit woo, but we're not all the way on that spectrum, right? So I think you offer that as well, which is great.
Thank you. And I want to share too, because basically going from standstill to 50 people enrolled in her freebie to the 13K cash week to now sales flowing again. And then you started getting invited to a number of workshops as well, right? And podcast opportunities were rolling in. And like, it
Yeah.
was just like, okay, like we are back in business.
Yeah. Yes, and I have a big speaking opportunity that I'm meeting with these two women tomorrow to talk about. So I'm very, very excited. It's all about energy too, as you and I know.
Yeah.
Energetic
Well, and
frequency.
that's what I wanted to ask too. So we talked about the tactical pieces, which a lot of it was kind of like your offer positioning, how you're positioning yourself, your content, and your visibility. Not meaning like now we need 40,000 new Instagram followers, but meaning how you are being visible to the
Right.
people that you have in a way that where it's like, hey, you sing like this. Let's have these strategic conversations. And then I feel like the other side of it, as it always is, was in terms of like your power, your rudeness within yourself, reconnecting you back to yourself, which is obviously going to reconnect you to money and your magnetism. It's hard to get, especially like we're talking about high ticket sales. And I love high ticket. As you know, I built the majority of my business on high ticket. Now I kind of have some of everything, but I've
Yeah.
always had high ticket. Like that's always been there. And so with a lot of experience selling high ticket, it's like, does it sell when you are like you have to feel in your power, and I don't mean that in a generic way, and very rooted in order for high ticket sales to come through. Like, doesn't that make sense? Who's showing up to pay us 10K, 20K, 30K, 50K, and we're like all wobbly behind the scenes? Like, it just doesn't.
It does.
I've never seen it work, not for me or anybody else in that. And that's why the energetic piece, especially if you want to command a lot of money, is so important.
I agree with you 1,000%. And at that time, the beginning of the year, from the end of last year to the beginning of this year, just worrying and feeling so stressed because of the drop that I had. And working with you, I realized like I just can't worry and stress about it anymore because I'm just literally attracting that. And then I'm attracting people who are like, how much does your program cost? Like those are like, I mean, I know we all get that, but just it was too much of it. And my program, honestly, for what it is not even it's not even near 10K. So for the 6 month customized program, it is a very fair price. But I was
And
selling you,
also, these are people, you have a lot of real estate agents, you have a lot
yeah,
of corporate women, like
yeah.
you have a lot of people who have money. Like this isn't like I quit my job and like I have no money and
And we work with
now what do
powerhouse
I do?
professionals. Yeah, we specifically work with powerhouse professional women for sure.
Right. So it also didn't even make sense, like for your demographic. Like, obviously, that's showing us that something is off. And I always feel like the feedback that we're getting from our audience shows us what's going on with us. Like, there are going to be these random people, of course, who are like in their money scarcity, whatever, fine. Like, that's just
Yeah,
part of having a business.
always going
But
to exit for sure. Yeah,
the majority, like, when it's off. When it's like, hey, I'm used to people being excited, ready to go, or just making sure that it's right for me, but it's not like about the money. It's just like, hey, I just want to make sure there's that compatibility match. That is a totally different conversation. But if we're just getting all these people who have like price objections and yada yada, well, one, I do think we need to bring more of you to your content. Yes. But two, it's like something is going on within us and like we're just getting it reflected back.
yeah, that's what was going on.
And And the hard thing about an income dip is like, and I'd love to hear what you feel like your personal lessons were on that front, because I feel like what's challenging about it is, well, one, I think they can be very productive and amazing because you get to see how much of your identity is wrapped up with money, because that's gonna get, the universe is always gonna like look for opportunities to bring us back into wholeness. And so when we have ourselves over identified with anything outside of ourselves, that thing tends to shake, right? So that we can come back into our power. And that's next to the fact that like we need to just like keep on top of like our business game, and markets do change, and like strategies do evolve, and what works 10 years ago is different than what works now. That's all true. But these things are like walking out, but it's very hard to even take that evolution and run with it and be excited and not be in scarcity when we're spending all this time like with kind of like tied to like, oh my God, but I had an income dip. What does that mean about me? Scarcity about money. Oh my God, is everything crashing down? Like we just can't function at a high level like from that energetic.
Yeah, I agree completely. So, I mean, for me, the lesson is something that you just said. How much of my identity is tied to external validation, which I feel like a lot of high achievers deal with. At least the women in my
Yeah.
program, we're constantly having calls. Our mindset calls are a lot about this. Like, how do we detach our identity from, making the money, achieving the accolades, all these things? Because I work with all high achieving women. It's like, that's great. Achieve the accolades, make the money, but it's really learning how to detach your identity from that and focusing on your own internal worth. And for me, as someone who grew up, you might have grown up this way too. Like when I got good grades, I was praised for it. And then when I got graduated with honors, then when I went to college and graduated with honors, all these things, you're constantly praised for that. So that's how you feel love, and that's how you feel accomplished. So it's natural then as an entrepreneur, like when you make a lot of money, you're like, yeah, I'm great. Yeah, I'm doing good. And then when you don't, you feel like a failure. In my head, I was like, I'm not a good business owner. I should burn this thing down. This sucks. What am I doing? How did I even make $1 million in the first place? Like like all these crazy thoughts running in. It takes a lot of sitting with yourself and being and doing the work. For me, it's like the meditations, the journaling, just really being with myself and coming back home to like, who am I outside of the business? Who am I?
Yeah. And so how did our work then affect you kind of on that level? Because I feel like there was a major shift in terms of like the energy you came to me with versus how, you transpired over the 4 months. Well, not I feel like there was, because I
Yeah.
remember telling you there was.
It's literally when you said, stop making money a problem. Like you're just like stop. If you make money a problem, it's going to be a problem. And I was like, okay, fine. It's not a problem. It's just what you helped me with was neutralizing it. I needed to just neutralize money, whether it's a 50K month, 30K month, or 100K month. I don't want to have such a charge from it. So it's like looking at my bank account and being like, okay, there it is. Boom. Not like, oh my God, oh my God, yes. It's like neutralize it. It's an energy, right? And it doesn't need to be so charged. So really, literally, when you said to me like, stop making it a problem, I was like, oh my God, I'm making it a problem, and I've been making it a problem since literally my first dip, which was May of 2024. So since May of 2024, when I went from consistent 80 to 100K months, dropped down to 50, I've been making it a problem, which had,
And then it continues to be a problem.
which right, it continues to be a problem, which then kept me like flatlined and then dipping and then dipping and then dipping even more.
And then it gets worse.
Yeah, because I was like living, like literally living in it. And granted, it's part my energy and then part of the strategy. There needed
Of
to be a
course.
shift, things like that. But yeah, I fully believe like 50% strategy, 50% energetics.
I really do too. Like it's just got to be both.
Hmm.
And but I do think that it's like I just don't think a lot of people talk about that because we only hear about kind of like the rise up,
Totally.
right?
All these coaches who are in like business coaches like you, all I see them post about is all the wins. All the wins. It's very rare that a coach gets on and says, yeah, last year at this time I had the biggest income dip, and like no one's talking about that. But it's happening all the
It
time.
does happen, but at the same time it's like, okay, well, a fitness coach isn't talking about whatever that went on in her. You know what I mean? Like it's normal to celebrate wins to show people what's possible. Like I don't believe that we need to like quote unquote hide our wins, for
Oh
example.
no, you should show wins. I agree with that completely, but we do need to be more real about some other aspects that are going on.
But I think that it's like, but how do we navigate out of the challenging seasons? You know what I mean? And I think I'm always saying to him, like, guys, no one's business just continuously makes more money every single year. Like, there, like, even if you're making an ungodly amount of money, there's going to be plateau years. There's
Well,
going to potentially be years.
I didn't know
Hmm?
that. I didn't know that. Honestly, like you have a business background, I don't. So I literally thought that I didn't realize there were seasons of business.
There are
Just
seasons with money. There are seasons in business. There are seasons in life.
yeah. But I just realized this last year. My business coach went over it with me. He was like, "You're in a deep, deep, deep winter." I was like, "Awesome! I hate winter. That's why I left New York. Get me the f out of this winter." But I had to go through it. It taught me
And
a lot.
people go through it at different times,
Yeah.
right? So, for example, I didn't go through it it looks different for everyone, but it's like that's not something I experienced in the beginning of my business. I like hit the ground running, right? For me, that kind of like reorienting myself, how do I want to do things, and releasing things. Like it's different for all of us, right? I released things that made the company a lot of money that were no longer in alignment. And so for me, that sort of like came later. And then
Yeah.
I had to like reshift how I wanted to do things. But I do know it's very hard to see success moving in new directions and doing new things if we're like wobbly and we're in scarcity and now we're doing self-doubt and comparison and all of these things. Like you don't have the fortitude to like get up and go when you really, because like there's seasons of entrepreneurship that are pretty chill, and then there's like, okay, we got to like get to work,
Yeah.
right? And it's very hard to get to work when you're like internally stressed,
Yeah, totally.
or you get to work but it doesn't have the magnetism on it, so it doesn't really do anything
Yep. Yeah, I
because
mean, I was getting to work, but it wasn't energetically, I wasn't aligned. So I was pushing, 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 burning myself out and just feeling worse because I was working so hard with literally no results until you and I don't say no results, but not the results I wanted. You and I had our first call and we at least got the free course going, got some people in, signed some people from that. So yeah, a lot of that was my energy just sitting in my
And then it's like, and it's always both, like you said, it was like realigning our frequency and then being, okay, who am I really? And how is this actually showing up and how I'm selling, how I'm positioning my offers and my content? Like,
yeah.
is this actually me? And in your case, the answer was no.
Yeah. Also, I was
And
selling in my stories. You're like, you don't even sell in your stories. I'm like, oh,
well, you were selling like it was 4 years ago, to be perfectly honest with you. I
okay.
was like, this.
Yeah. All right. There you go.
I was like, this whole like webinar to don't tell anybody the price to did it. I was like, this isn't a thing anymore. People don't, they're weary now. It doesn't, it's just,
Right.
and we're short on time.
Yeah. Just
We're
like get,
short on time.
yeah. Like get to the point. You're like, just get to the point with it.
And just be transparent.
Yeah.
They're fine, right? And then, of course, like a lot of it was the positioning too. And then, too, we feel more empowered when we're like, oh, I'm actually showcasing the depth of my work through my content and through how I'm positioning my offer. You actually feel more alive because you do feel different. You don't feel like you look around and you're just like, wow, I am literally just saying what every other Tom, Dick, and Harry who sells this thing is saying. And like, I know there's more to me, but I don't necessarily know how to weave that in a way where my potential buyer is like also going to care about it. So we're not just like spewing stuff, because
Right.
obviously we need to position you in a way where it monetizes, not just like, because people hear that and be like, oh, I'm just going to like speak from the heart. And I'm like, you're still marketing. We are still marketing. We're growing a company.
Yeah. I mean, you're an excellent marketer in the way you're able to see what needs to be said and how it needs to be said. I still feel like that's a learning process for me. When I come back into your world again, that will be something we'll continue to work on because I feel like every time we have a call, I learn a ton in that arena. Like I'm good. I get compliments, not, but I'm not on the level where I'd like to be, where I don't feel like, well, not that every single post is going to convert, but I do think that that's an area of growth for me, and I'm fine to admit that.
Well, and it's a holistic thing. It's not just like what's on this one Instagram post. It's
Right.
the hybrid of all of our content together. It's basically our sales going up. You know what I mean? So from, your podcasts, your lives, your posts, your emails, the conversations that you're having with people, what you're saying on your, in when you're being interviewed, and
Right.
then also for your own potential show, YouTube, whatever, right? It's like I think about it as like the culmination of everything. And so
Right.
when we just feel really solid in our positioning and how we want to talk about our offer and in really speaking to that person who's perfect for it and not just like, you're not trying to talk to every single woman over 40 who's not happy in her body, right? And so sometimes we're going like too wide, and
Yeah.
then we sort of just get like watered down and lost.
Yeah, I agree. The working on the I can never say the word specificity
Specificity.
is also just an area of work, just remembering who exactly I'm speaking to. Because yeah, yes, I work with women 40 plus who are, some are in perimenopause, but it's not just that. It's a specific type of clientele that we work with.
Yeah, and you know who thrives. You've been doing this a long time. And I think too, for people who are afraid of leaving people out, it's like remember that you set your work up for a certain type of person whether you realize it or not. So you want the people coming in who match that because you want them to have the results. Those results obviously like you feel really great because your people are getting results. They're happy. That's part of how your name spreads. It's part of how you come to be known. So when we're kind of like overly concerned with everyone, we're really like doing a disservice to ourselves and like to the container because now we're like so in scarcity. We're trying to call in people who aren't even right for it. And then that just puts this really yucky, like you're not going to feel good. If your container is full of people who should not be there, who for whatever reason are the type of person who's not either choosing not to grow or they're just not a right fit for your world, you're going to start doubting yourself and really all along, and you're going to doubt your work, and then you're not going to show up with a lot of potency on the internet, but all along your program wasn't the problem, just who you have in it was.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I've always been really particular with who we bring in because there's a certain type of woman that I like to work with. And she was me. She was me. Like that's who I was, the burnt out, really successful in my job, but I was 40 pounds overweight, putting everything first before me. So yeah, so I'm very clear on the type of women we want to work with, and
Yeah,
not just trying to bring everyone in.
totally. And I was more saying that like for the audience too,
Yeah.
because I think that people get in, there's just can be fear around like, well, if I dial in too much, and I'm not saying it has to be like, and she's 5'10" and brown hair and she lives in Florida. Like, I'm not saying to that degree. I just I just mean like the type of, so for example, in my world, I'm not like, oh, she's at this exact income level, but she is a certain type of person. Like she is awake. She wants to get grounded 3D results. She wants to feel like herself. She wants the energetics and she wants the strategy, right? Versus like someone who still believes in their mind that they're going to build a 8-figure company off a checklist and they're going to keep trying that till the end of time, even though it doesn't work. Or the person who's like, oh my God, if I just go heal another trauma, like somehow my business is going to blow up and I'm just going to like totally run blind to how to like scale my company. Those people are not for me. I don't want either one of them. I want people, or they've learned the lesson, right? And they want to like run in the middle. And I know that I'm skilled at mentoring to both. Like people will say that and they're not, right? I genuinely know that I am.
You are,
So it's
right.
like that, those are the people who are going to thrive in my world. And like people who are running very far in one direction or very far in the other, I'm like, no, because you're going to always think there's some secret strategy. Or you're going to be like, how do I feel deserving of money? And I'm like, babe, this is not how we make $1 million.
Right. Yeah, I love that you talk about that. Yeah, same. It's the same thing with my program too. It's like I don't want someone who just wants to focus on the nutrition and the fitness. I want someone who really understands that nervous system recalibration, hormone balancing, deep mindset work, trauma work is going to play into your body composition. When someone comes to me like, "Oh, can you help me prep for just like my wedding or for a fitness competition?" I'm like, "No, I'm not the coach for that at all." So I'm very clear on the same thing, like we're right in the middle. I don't want someone, and I also don't want someone who's like, no, I don't need to do the strategy piece. It's like, well, you still need to do the strategy piece if you want to get results, but we also need the mindset piece. So somewhere right in the middle. Same.
Yeah, and I get that. And also it's just so interesting because it's like you can't just like override all of your trauma and internal stuff with like a new diet. Like that is just laughable. Yes.
So many people think that they can.
Or it would
Like,
have worked already. It would have worked already because you probably tried to.
it worked already. That's why people lose the same 10 and 15 pounds over and over again. Works for a short time.
Or I'm sure too, we can't just be like, well, I'm only gonna look at my trauma, I'm only gonna look at my mindset, and then like I love myself, so I'm gonna eat this pint of ice cream, and then
Right.
wonder like,
Doesn't work either. It has to be the perfect marrying, and I believe you can have some treats, but yeah, there has to be that perfect marrying. Sure, we can be working on the mindset, but you still have to do the movement, do the strength training, get the walks in, put your feet in the earth. Like you still have to do all the other things as well.
Well, and we tend to like shy away from the part that feels like harder for us. Like,
Yes.
I feel like a lot of spiritual women are very used to quote unquote working on themselves.
Mhm.
And then so they're like, they're shy away from like, well, let's get more strategic in your business so it can grow and keep wanting everything to just channel through, channel through, channel through. I'm like, babe, as much as you've been focused on that, you would have had a 9-figure company by now,
Right.
you know? And then like, or it's like people who are like, well, there must be like that hardcore 3D answer and must be there, must be there, must be there. They're working so hard and their magnetism is so low that they're
Yeah.
actually working harder than people making 10 times the amount of money who understand this blend because like they're trying to take a 3D route to like a 5D destination. Like it doesn't work. And it's always and forever for every client I've ever seen, for myself, just in general, it's always both. It is always
Great.
both. And I think that like we need to understand, just like in life, the duality of life, there's this duality inside of business and money and your body, like you're saying, everywhere. And it's like we as humans, I feel like sometimes have a very hard time with that. And we just kind of get like, we get because we're scared, we want to like attach to something, even like what you were talking about in the way that you were making investments previously. It's like we want to attach to something, we want that to be the thing because we're afraid, right? Like we're afraid of failure, we're afraid of going towards maybe something that was uncomfortable or unknown, and then we just like outsource our power to one way, one thing. But the universe is always going to bring you like, give you the opportunity to come back into your power and allow you to like rise from that place.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I couldn't agree more. Excuse me, I couldn't agree more with the strategy and the energetics of being in the middle. It's like I said, it's like a woman who comes to me, and for most women, it's easy to log the food or do the workouts. It's the other pieces that they don't want to do, facing the trauma or facing the roadblocks and the limitations that they've been, the stories that they've been living in. That's where a lot of the hard work comes in, and that's why they've been stuck for so long because they don't want to address these things. So
Because
it's
it's
really
not comfortable.
comfortable, right? It's not comfortable. Oh, we have to talk about that. Yeah, we do need to talk about that because it's living in your cells and it's making you fat. Yep, we do.
Yeah, because it's making you fat. That should be like, that's what you need to tell the people.
It is like your these stories, beliefs, lack, trauma, everything is literally living in your cells and making you fat.
And making you fat. But I feel like then you're like, okay, let's talk about it, right?
Of course. Now let's get to it. Come on.
All right, fine. Actually, I do want to go there if it'll make me skinny. Amazing.
It's gonna make me skinny. Let's talk about it right now. Oh my gosh. Obviously,
I love that. Well, thank you so much. I'm sure there's definitely going to be listeners who are interested in your world. What are the different ways to work with you, and where's the best place to find you?
yeah, best place to find me always on Instagram. Just send me a DM. I'm always in there at the Angelica Ventrice. And as far as working with me, we have our customized holistic health and mindset program. So that's 6 months long. And I do have 2 one-on-one spots. So that's for the woman who really wants to go to the next level in her mindset and her business and her life. But most women come into the flagship Align Method program and go from there.
Amazing. And then is there anything else that I'm just so happy that you trusted me too, and I really want to share that because I know that feeling. Like I've made some investments where I was just like, what in God's name?
Yeah. What?
What in God's name just happened for $20,000?
That's
Like,
literally my branding one from years ago. After I spent that money and I got my logo, I was like, did this just happen? Like, is this really what just happened?
it's very weird. And I'm like, who you charge this for this? You can't even explain your process. You can't even explain. I'm like, oh, you're just a good marketer. And then there'll be like some people who are getting great results somehow. I don't even know how. And I'm like, I don't know. But ladies, if this has happened to you, I want you to know, like, don't take it personal. Like, just
Yeah.
let it be. Like, look for what I always say is like, there were signs. Most of the time, you weren't like, you know what, like this person really activates something within me. I believe in terms of soul aligned investments to like leave us with like what to do. It's like you feel something. Like it's not just like, wow, she's made a lot of money. She's super fit. She's da da da. She must have the answers. Like that is always going to take us sideways. At least in my personal experience, it's like there's an actual, and no big surprise, there's an actual like energetic activation. There is a soul remembrance. Like there is a feeling. It's like you kind of can't, they're on your mind all the time, not from a place of comparison, how much money they made or how skinny they are, but like in a way where it's like, wow, she says things that like make me think differently.
That's what
And
you
I
did.
think though, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what you did for me. When we had that first call, which was really just like as friends, it wasn't a sales call. It was like our mutual friend Stefan was like, "You guys need to talk." Finally, 3 years later, we get on the phone. We talked. I think we talked for almost 2 hours. But there was, and of course, as two entrepreneurs, we talked a lot about business as well. And you act on that call. I realized I was very activated. It was like this energetic alignment, of course, and then you were activating me, not triggering me, but making me like, okay, I can do better here. I need to think about this. And then soon after that, I booked a call. And I think that's the most important thing because, like you just said, when I've looked at other coaches and I've been in a big industry name mastermind, that I was looking at the amount of money she was making and all the results that she was getting for her clients who were having these crazy months, and I was like, oh, I need to be in this world. What's going on here? And then it was like one of the worst experiences I've ever had.
And cost like how much?
I mean, we really want to go there. It was 11K. It was 11K a month.
But this is my point. It's like, it's okay. Like, I don't mean it in that. I just think it's interesting the way that, like, we will just, because money's reflective of our power, right? It's like, I'm going to pay you 11 grand a month to not teach me how to do anything.
Right. But
How did I get here?
I still your audience. So I made those mistakes, but I still have invested since then. That was 2021. It's
Totally. That was a while
2025.
ago.
I've invested right, and that I invested with Jocelyn. So it's like if you've had a bad investment, don't let it dictate your future. Right? Like I said, just
No.
dating that one bad guy. It's not that every guy out there is like that, right? So don't let the bad past investments dictate your future investments because it's happened to all of us. Right? There
It
are
has
women.
happened to all of us. Like, and I used to carry it more. Just, it's happened in a variety of ways. And not everybody's, some people actually don't really know what they're doing or how to teach it. They're just good at doing it themselves. And then sometimes they're just not for you and they are phenomenal for someone else.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
and sometimes you need to stick with it longer and not try to blame your mentor and go like, "Oh my God, it's not working. It's not working." And like, meanwhile, you haven't done anything or
Right.
not really,
Right. You
right?
haven't
Because
accepted, you haven't embodied, you haven't, yeah, for sure.
right? So there's all of those things can be going on. But what I know for sure for the alignment piece is like there's that sense of activation. You're hearing the truth. It's either triggering or it's activating or it's like, okay. I don't think that you should be like triggered 24/7. I think it's hard to learn if you're triggered 24/7. I don't love that message that's on the internet around like, well, if you're triggered, like go there. I'm like, yeah, in a way where it's like, okay, she woke something up, like what you just said, but not to the point where you're like non-functional. Like that, I just like
I
don't think,
agree.
and it's like, are you trauma bonding or are you
Right.
actually working through a trigger?
Right, right. And I think the better word is like, does this potential mentor, if you're looking to hire someone, does she or he activate you? Do they
Yeah.
make you think outside the way you've been thinking? Whether it's for your body, for your business, for your life, whatever it may be. Like, do they make you think differently about the situation you're in now? And you did. And for me, that was like, okay, I want to continue to work with you, you know?
Thank you. I'm so happy. And also, like, I think a lot of people hear that message too of like, oh, well, if she has what you have, what you want, hire her. And I'm like, I just don't. I really think it comes down to energetic resonance because someone you could be like, yeah, I want to make as much money as she does.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
every woman with a six pack, we're gonna hire them because they have that. No, I mean, or they have the body. No, like that's not the right. That doesn't mean it's the right fit for you, right? And
Right. But you've heard, but it's been indoctrinated into people where it's like, oh, well, go like hire people who have the things that you want. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of people technically who have the things that we want, and they are not all going to be good for us. And I've just had a lot of clients where it's like sort of the situation like where you came from, where it wasn't like you weren't getting strategic support, but it was just definitely not for you. And then I've had clients who've been this kind of like honestly like spiritually abusive, culty vibes on the flip side, right? And they're not actually getting support for growing their business. And if they ask for like actual tangible support, they get like shamed for it. And it's like,
that was like the mastermind I was in.
oh, that happened to you too. I was, you're like, I've been on all spectrums.
Oh, I've been through it all. When I would ask a question, I was either ignored or like, oh, you just need to focus more on like the inner work, like, or like, who are you being? I'm like, it's not always that. Sometimes it's a strategy answer, just like sometimes it's an energetic answer. But like when I was looking for, guidance, I wasn't. Yeah, that is. I can't believe that just brought that up.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so then you're sort of being gaslit and you're like, and then it's interesting because then, I have a client who she'd been in my world for a long time, then went down a road like that, kind of in tandem to working with me. And then now it's just like so cool to see her thrive now because it's like, well, one, claimed a lot of power back, but it's like we're just focused on actually what's going to grow her company. And she's doing so well now. And I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
don't be gaslit into thinking that like, you just need to like feel better about yourself and money's gonna fall out of the sky, or like that you always just need to, because what tends, they're like, oh, you need to charge more. I'm like, that doesn't always work, and it's also not always required. And I've seen people charging so much that they can't. I had a client, I was like, lower your private prices, this is crazy. You are charging like someone who's making 200 grand a month. You're not signing the clients and you don't even feel good about it, and it's stressing you out.
Well,
But
yeah. Wow.
she had been told over and over and over by someone who was essentially manipulating her to keep raising her prices. And then she was like, oh my God, thank you so much for saying that. Cause it's like, because she felt like, oh, somehow like she wasn't in her power or whatever it was if she just didn't keep raising her prices. And then like, and I don't mean like she's now overworking and underpaid. She started making more money.
Yeah, because she priced herself at a point that she wasn't in energetic alignment with. So how can you attract clients if you don't believe in that price yourself? But someone
And
told
then
her,
your mentor is like shaming you about not charging more. I'm like, what is this is not how businesses are built.
yeah. Or my favorite was, you just need to find more joy in your day. Do I? Okay.
You're like, I could talk to a therapist for $100 an hour about that. Just saying.
I live in Maine. I have plenty of joy. I love where I live. Like, come on. It's not like it's sometimes it's not that's not what it is. And I do believe that yes, when you are in more joyful and pleasure and all those feelings, money does flow to you easier. But that's not
It
always the
does.
answer. That's not always the answer.
And also sometimes life lives.
Yeah.
Like sometimes life lives, or how, one of your mentors told you like, hey, we're in a winter season. It's a season, it's going to be okay. But
Right.
like, and we do want to find joy and we do want to find, but I feel like more important than even, and sometimes that's hard to say to somebody who's financially stressed,
Yeah.
because you could have someone who has multiple millions of dollars in the bank telling you to find joy, and their version of finding joy is getting on a private plane and going on vacation to France. You know what I'm saying? And so you're like, well, I would love to do that and to just buy myself a new Cartier watch. And they say that that's not true, but it is. You know
Right.
what I mean? They're like dripping in everything. And I like it lush, but I'm just saying, having been through periods of financial stress, it's like sometimes the things that you would want to do, you're like, I really like that's not an available option. And sure, there's other available options. You live somewhere beautiful. It's like playing out with your dog, go to the beach, blah, blah, blah. You know that. But you're in a more stressful period and trying to psych yourself out like, well, if I just go have a glass of champagne and laugh with my girlfriends, everything's going to be fine. It's sort of like gaslighting your business.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a time and a place for those type of comments. So yeah, I've
Even though
seen.
we love to have fun, but I've just never had anyone coming to me with their business being like, either I had this income dip or like, I don't know, something is not working and there's not a business answer. Like I've just never seen it. The answer has never been that she just needs to like go hang out with her friends more.
And drink, yeah, and drink a glass of champagne. That's what I'm saying. There's a strategy piece. Like you and I are both very spiritual, both very energetic, but there's that strategy piece that needs to happen.
Well, I hope that because I just think a lot of people carry those feelings on the inside and have had those experiences, or you think something's wrong with you because it's, things are working for other people, they're not working for you. There's nothing wrong with you,
Right.
but we do need to get to what is right for you. And you need to like not be in hiding or afraid to get help, or because I think for a lot of us women who are oriented towards creating in the world, we're ambitious, et cetera, et cetera, you can start to slip into like, well, I like all along, people don't really support me. Like I'm going to have to do everything myself. And which is another trauma response, right?
Yeah.
Because lots of times we did need to do a lot of things for ourselves. We did get here doing a lot of things for ourselves. but I do believe for all of us, part of our journey is also learning to like deeply receive and be supported and to be able to build relationships that are based on trust, that are like mutually beneficial. And even if we've been burned in the past, we all have. Oh my, if I could add up the amount of money
That's what I'm
that
saying. That's a podcast for another day. Let's add up the amount of money that we wasted on mentors because that would be a long answer.
and like, and also being in disempowered places in my life
Right.
before my
Right.
company, right?
Yep.
So, and then on the flip, there's been people who I would categorically say changed my life,
Same.
you
Yeah.
know? And it's just like what you said with romantic relationships. We don't like stop because two or three people were just not it, right?
Mhm.
So just remember that, because I think that cloud of like, oh my God, but I tried all these things, I invested these other places, then this happened, blah, blah, blah. If you stay there, you will not grow.
Exactly. And you'll
You
attract more of
will
those
not.
situations. You'll
And
just
you'll just more of that, and you'll just keep searching, and you'll keep searching and keep searching. All that needs to happen is go towards the places, go towards where you feel activated, not what your brain is telling you, like they must have an answer, this looks logical, their client had this result, I'm going to have it too. You're not a robot. Go towards where you feel an energetic pull and connection. There's
yeah.
something for you everywhere, always. But I just feel like that growth that we wind up like needing, in terms of like, yes, the practical of the business, but also as a human, comes from the places that we actually feel connected to and curious about.
Yeah, totally. Not just a number that you saw or the accolades or the house or the things. Yeah, gotta go
Or
beyond.
just the marketing, even. Some people are just really good at marketing.
So many. Yeah, we've all fallen.
Actually, lots of people.
Yeah. There's
And
plenty
we
of
want,
there's plenty of people out there who are way better marketers than me, but I know they don't have the deep skill set that I have to transform a woman's lives. But they're really good at marketing. That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we want both, but I'm saying, like, guys, remember that you're the leader. So don't always just like, you need to be able to see marketing for what it is. And it's not problematic, it's how you grow a company. But it's also like, okay, cool. Am I responding to marketing, or or is there resonance here? Is there, what about this message is moving me forward? What am I feeling in my body versus just like something that is literally just designed to pull you in, because that's what marketing does.
Right. Exactly. So true.
So, anyway, thank you so much. We have all of your episode notes in the show notes. Also, love, we brought this up earlier in the call, that we have our matching yellow ones, since neither of us ever wears yellow.
So funny. You know, we look cute.
No. Wait. Thank you.
Thanks, love.
Hi, gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed that episode so much. Like Angelica's transparency. This is what you get from an Aries. I think we talked about it. Her and I have the same birthday and share a best friend. Like, how weird is that? The universe is so crazy. And also, like you guys, I just don't really know anyone else who has my exact birthday. My birthday is April 1st. I'm an April Fool's baby. Funny enough, no one has ever played an April Fool's joke on me in my entire life, and I'm 42 years old. How crazy is that? But also, like, I kind of like it. Do I like April Fool's jokes? I don't know. I think I don't know because none have been played on me. Like, maybe we'll find out if I do. Who knows? Either way, hope you love the episode. Make sure you can book your own effortless flow intensive, which is exactly the experience Angelica had. She blocked in for 4 months of them. You can start with your first month, see how that feels for you. If you're in the Secret Money membership, the Revolution, you guys have an exclusive rate, so reach out for that. And otherwise, the link is going to be in episode notes for a more extended. Of course, the deeper you go, the better results get. Like, this is obvious. Come join us inside the Revolution category of one, the mastermind, to build your brand to be the only place that your luxury clients see, where we're going to be helping you establish buyer certainty with your audience across your positioning, for your offers, across your content, across your sales strategies, and also, of course, creating that, like, of course, I get paid energy within yourself, because there's always the bridge, like Angelica and I were talking about, between your power and the energetics, and then the strategies that are backing you, and the content that is backing you, and the offers that are backing you, in order to have like the money wheel turning in ways that feel really good to you, that are personalized to you. I know I talk about this all the time, but I cannot stop with the personalization of the work. Like, I have never seen anyone just like in my world, energetically sensitive spiritual women be able to like build a business off a checklist, but you need foundations, right? And we do need strategies. And the further you get along, we're always optimizing those. So I have clients who I've seen from literally $0 to seven figures, clients who've been with me for years. And what we were working on in the business when they came to me is different than, what we're doing now. So there's always that optimization taking place. I'm always keeping my teachings and my own like education and what I'm bringing to you up to speed based on what I'm seeing with my clients, what I'm testing, what I'm seeing in the market. And sometimes with one client, I'm like, oh my God, this would be such a vibe for you. Like your energy just totally suits this, but it's not for me, or it's not for another client that we have in the mastermind. So do know this isn't one of these like, well, I learned how to do this thing in 2020. And I don't know, that's just like what I'm going to teach you. This is not it. My business doesn't look anything like it looked in 2020, nor does like how I do things. And I was doing very well in 2020 and we're doing well now, right? So it's about that continuous evolution in your brand and how you do things, even if, of course, your message is the same. There's just refinements, right? So that as the market gets bigger and bigger and bigger, as markets tend to do, and as this industry is doing, because it's so powerful that we can hire other people to get where we want to go and move outside of systems that we don't want to be in to get where we want to go. So as there's more people, naturally that creates more healthy competition. So we want to have more mastery over marketing and sales. And you don't want to be in that really stuck searching energy where you're like, oh my God, maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to do this, da, 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 right? Angelica shared about, and I've had that experience, and like it never is what makes you more money. We need to ground you into, okay, what is the evolution of your sales system, of your content, of your positioning, of your power, right? That matches where you're going from here. Because what you had previously got you to this result. You know, that saying that like what got you here won't take you there is true, right? So now it's like, hey, what's that evolution without having the fear? You don't need to burn it all down. Like, this is not the end of the world. Like, just take the step. Like, Angelica simply hired me. Alexa simply hired me. All these women, you can read about them on my praise page on my news site. I'll link it in show notes as well. All they did was just hire me and get in the room and get in a room where I can actually look at your business, right? And support you with that so that you're taking everything you learn in my programs, etc. And it's like, and obviously you're gonna get powerful results there too, but it's like, why wouldn't you have my eyes on your company so that we can really personalize and optimize? Because there's so much that I can see, just like Angelica was saying, I see things other people don't see. It is a mix of my psychic intuitive gifts and then also just my real world brain for business and money. And I'm connected to my clients. It's just a real thing. So come join us inside the revolution. You can use the code SUMMER333 to receive $333 off. If you are in Enchanted Cells, Magnify, Manifest, Receive, or the Secret Money membership, you can also use the credits from those offers to come join us. Also, my closest proximity mastermind, Fempire, for you, if you're wanting that more continuous access to me, the closest touch point, you are scaling 20K to 100K months. I do have a special opportunity for joining Fempire during this Feels Like Summer sale. So I'm not going to get too much into that here because it's just going to take us on and on and on. But if you want that level of proximity with me, or if you're curious about it, or you want to chat about if it's a good fit for you, obviously everything we do is with the leading energy of ease. We have our twice monthly hot seat coaching calls. You have Telegram access to me Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And then you're also going to get everything in the revolution, everything in Secret Money. You have your own we have like a separate content portal for stepping into 20K to 100K months. And also for deep feminine receiving energetics, like all these like yummy, like guided journeys and practices and things like that inside Fempire as well. So make sure to reach out because these exclusive opportunities are closing soon. The savings on the revolution is going to end the day that category of 1 kicks off, Tuesday, June, not January, June 24th. And the exclusive opportunity to join Fempire with what I have available to you now, just reach out to me and I'll give you the details, is also going to be closing soon. So I love you so much. Just get in the room. You'll be so happy you did. Imagine what is on the other side of backing yourself. You feel the activation. You already know that you're meant to be in my world, or else why are you listening? especially at this point. Like there's something that I'm activating inside of you. You don't just want to watch from the sidelines and watch all these other people do it. There's nothing quote unquote special about them except they just moved, right? Like scared or not, it was easy or not, but they moved and they just dove in, right? And we got to work and made everything easier and more lucrative and feel more connected. Like this is how business gets to be. So I love you so much. Links are in episode notes and I will be back soon.